Catalyst is an amazing organization, and one of the interesting things is that you're a global organization. Can you talk a little bit about the work that you do?
So Catalyst is a global not-for-profit, and our mission is to advance progress for women in the workplace. And how we do that is by working with companies to build inclusive environments that not only advance women of all colors, shapes, and sizes, but also advance all people.
We talk a lot about the role of women in Canada in the workplace, and I think many of us feel very confident that we're doing a good job. How do we compare when we look at the rest of the world?
So I would say on some dimensions we're doing fantastically well, and on some we are middling. We are doing fantastically well on the conversation. So the quality of the conversation in this country, when you include business, government, regulators, and investors, is incredibly high, and it is incredibly broad, and it has amplified in volume tenfold, 20-fold over the last few years. Where we could do more is in the outcomes. So we are lagging some countries in outcomes. If we look at representation of women in leadership and women in mid-management as they excel through their career.
In your opinion, what could we be doing better?
So I think there's really three things I boil it down to. It's measures, accountability, and men. Measures, I do believe that some form of measurement, whether it's targets or quotas or whatever an organization is most comfortable with, but measuring what you're looking for and setting goals and measuring progress against that is critical. The second is accountability. Everybody needs to be part of this. It's not just a human resource function. In fact, it shouldn't be a human resource function. It should be a line organization function to build more talent into the organization. And then men. This is for too long been called a women's issue. It is not even close to being a women's issue. It is society's issue, and therefore we need all genders working together to harness the best talent, which comes in all genders, into organizations.
It's interesting when you think about the advancement of women in the workplace, but also think about it in the context that the workplace has changed so much over the past few decades. What effect is that having on the outcome?
So I think it's incredibly interesting and could be a real game changer. So the work that we do is closely tied to the future of work. And when we work with companies, we are all trying to anticipate what that future of work is going to look like as it's changing very rapidly with how people work, where people work, when people work. But to me, this all boils down to the same thing. We're looking for the best talent in all its forms to work collaboratively, whether that's in the same room or across screens and other means, to develop the best ideas to actually grow the economic pie for this country and for companies within it.
And we're not just doing this because it feels like the right thing to do when we want gender parity. The reality is, from an economic standpoint, we see more success when we have businesses that are more diverse and inclusive.
Yeah. But I will say it is the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do both from a fairness and human equity perspective. It's also just the right thing to do from, as you say, an economic and a business perspective. Why you would want to choose from only a portion of the talent pool when you can select from the entire talent pool really defies any logic.
It's interesting too, I think, when you look at the success of women in positions of leadership, many of them have stories about others who have moved the dial for them. We all have these stories about individuals who have helped us and kind of shown us the path that we should follow. What's your story?
So I'm fortunate to have quite a few stories, but the one that is most salient for me is when I was in my mid-20s, I worked with someone who enabled me to show my best capabilities by literally throwing me off the ledge. And this is someone I would never work with again because the experience in many respects was awful, but it gave me such a platform to prove myself that I actually think that was the biggest game changer in my career.